Hi there, it's me again, another one of my videos. I'm sorry, I've been quiet for a while. Well, I'm sure McCanns are not sorry, but I'm a bipolar and I suffer with depression, and when I'm depressed I really don't want to do anything. It's okay, I'm medicated, so I'm all good, but I can't personally take antidepressants because it's a bit too dangerous for me, because when I go into psychosis it really is a big deal. Anyway, I'll perhaps, if anybody's interested, I'll perhaps do another video about bipolar later. But this one's again about the McCanns. I've got to do a few more now because what with all this latest stuff coming on, I thought I got thinly veiled death threats, and I kind of thought, well, I've done what I could, but there's in fact quite a bit more that I got planned. So I'm going to carry on with those. One of the future ones is going to be I'm going to write to the McCanns, and I shall read the letter out to them on video, and they will have my address. They'll need to watch all. If you want my address, you've got to watch all of the videos, because I'm not going to put it on the top of the letter, but in other videos of mine, I've told you where I live, and in subsequent videos I shall tell you what my postcode is. My first letter for this one is, the first letter on my postcode is 2. To get the rest, watch the rest of the videos. So, look, in these, I'm going to write to the McCanns. I'm also going to write to Virgin Branson, Mr. Branson, who gave $2 million of his own money, and I'm just going to ask him why. And I'm going to make in that video to Branson, I'm going to suggest to people that they boycott Branson Airlines and trains and everything, his money and his internet, all of his businesses, until you receive a reasonable explanation about why he supported the McCanns, when all of the evidence, at a time when the evidence was so solidly stacked against them. And if Branson gets enough letters like that, that's got to be great. I also got to write to Jim Gamble, because he's supporting the McCanns and he's in a senior position looking after children's interests, for goodness sake. Where the fuck are we when we've got fucking people like Jim Gamble, a supporter of child abuse, in senior positions? The evil has got a hold, has it not, eh? There are 10,000 children a year go missing in the UK. 10,000. Get your head around that number. Of course, most of them are disappearing from care homes and stuff, because they're coming from broken homes, and the state entirely fails to protect them. So you've got a whole generation of children disappearing, lost. The state doesn't help them. What world we're living in now, eh? But worse than that, much, much worse than that. You know, some of these kids turn up again. But much worse than that is a lot of them are abused. A lot of them die, but child abuse is so rampant in the UK. It's distasteful, isn't it? I don't want to talk about it. Nobody likes to talk about it. The Brits want to cover it up. It's a distasteful thing to have to talk about. But if 1 in 3 people have been abused, and that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. Those numbers are obviously hard to be accurate with. Can you imagine the trauma that child's gone through if it survives? That in order for it to have a normal relationship with anybody else, any other human being, for the rest of his life, it's going to be very, very difficult indeed. So it's going to be difficult for that person, through no fault of their own, through the bloody abuse that they've received. It's going to fuck anybody with. But then it's going to have a knock-on effect with the rest of people, with the rest of the people they interact with. If you wanted to use a weapon of war and you've got a few years to wait, then all you need is to set up a paedophile ring, because you destroy a country. You're destroying a country. What do we see now in the UK or America? You know, with racism on people can't see that it's wrong to murder somebody, a black man, whatever his size, whatever his background. It's fucking wrong. There's no mitigating it. You see on Facebook all these people, yeah, but we don't riot, and yeah, fucking hell. What's the matter with these people? Have you got no empathy at all? You can't imagine what it would be to be black. And your ancestors used as slaves and denied human rights and finding it 10 times more likely to be shot by the police than if you're black. I know that's American. Anyway, I didn't mean to get onto that now. Tonight, in the future videos to the McCanns, I'm going to talk about God and the devil. And I don't want to turn people off. I don't want people to think, oh, he's a religious nut. Because I'm not. I'm not religious in any way. But I do have a very, very strong concept and belief in God. It will annoy you if I say certain knowledge that there's God, but yeah, for me it's certain. I'll just very briefly tell you how I got there. I think all religion is wrong. I've looked at them and I can't find any of them that gave me any satisfactory explanation about my existence and God, the life, the universe and everything. None of them. And I pretty much dismissed God growing up. I looked at it, and I not dismissed it because I was interested in it. I was travelling the world and I was interested why people believe these things, this seeming fairy story, and so deeply enough to go to war and kill over. Why? There's something, there must be something. What can it be? But I did some growing up, and eventually, when I started getting involved with computers and stuff, I started to think about programs and plugging your mind into a server. And yeah, with a plug. We don't need plugs anymore, do we? We've got Wi-Fi and stuff like that. Then I looked at a shoal of fish, or a flock of birds, that move as a single being. They do. You've only got to look at the telly with a shoal of fish. They all move as one. They're not following a leader. Now you could say they've all got this lateral line and they're all responding to an electrical signal. It might be. But there's no collisions in the centre, you know, or the birds might be responding to a visual stimulus. But again, there's no collisions in the centre. They all move as one body, even the ones in the middle. They're not bashing into each other like humans would be. So there's only one explanation for that. There is, for me, those beings, those fish or those birds, are moving as a single being, as a one entity. All right, the fish, they're all about the same size, they're all about the same age, they haven't got jobs, they've kind of got a similar background. So the idea that they're all thinking pretty much the same thing is not out of the question, surely. But we evolved from fish and birds, so that very, very handy instinct where they all move together as one entity, as one mind, do you think that nature would have let go of that ability as we developed? Because it would be very handy, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? If you could link minds, it would be very, very handy indeed. I don't think nature would have let that talent go. I don't think that at all. In fact, I think that God, my concept of God, is our human consciousness, our collective consciousness, which has become sentient, it becomes self-aware, and it knows that it exists. Now, whether it can exist without humans elsewhere, I don't know, and I'm never going to pretend to know, but it may be able to with these kind of quantum linked particles and stuff. That's a kind of interesting concept. And this sentient being just needs to be a collection of ones and noughts and our memories, so it's a big universal data bank, something like that. And the details, of course, now to me, are not important at all. in the slightest, because I can't comprehend this magnificent God. But I do know He exists, and I know because I can talk to Him, so can you. And when you get an answer, that's you, you're sold. Now, there's only one way. There is a filter. God isn't all parts of all of us. I think He's good in all of us. All the good human traits. I think that's what He is, and that's what He's made of. And there's a kind of a filter. I mean, God needs a firewall to keep all the shit out. And all the viruses, all of that shit. So you can only talk to God in truth. In truth. You can't lie to God, you can't deceive God, you can't, well, no, you certainly can't. He sees everything. But if you want to talk to Him, you do it unselfishly, don't you? I mean, okay, it is selfish when most people talk to God because they need it, they need something. Help me, save me. And He will if you deserve it. Yeah, if you deserve it, depends. Depends what you've been doing. Depends what you've been up to. Depends whether you brought it on yourself. Depends whether they've been trying to fucking warn you. Pack it in, for goodness sake. And He does. Yes, He does. Now then, if you can only talk to God with truth and goodness and lack of... He will give you stuff, so long as it won't harm you, so long as it won't harm anybody else, so long as you deserve it, so long as you say, well, hey, what would you like me to do for you? You know. And I think basically what he really wants most of the time is just for you to say hello. That's pretty much all He needs. Having said that there's God, who is all the good stuff, like in nature, there's a balance, there always is. It's not one thing, it's not even two things. In the universe, it's three-dimensional. We've got three things. We've got three things that are balancing. Each dynamic, and stuff is moving. And when one force gets stronger than the other, there's movement. But eventually, the resistance builds up, and balance is restored. That's how everything in nature works. How everything that you see around you works that way. And so it is with God. And so it is that way. There is an opposite side. There is a consciousness that thrives on pain and fear and anguish. That's what it consists of. That's what it's made of. That's what its fuel is. And you, as a human being, you are free. You are free to make your choices. We're not totally free, are we? Because we're stuck on this earth, and our minds are stuck in our physical heads, and we need food and water. So we're not entirely free. But we have free choices. And God gives us choices, and so does the other guy, the devil, or whatever you want to call him. And those two, there's some sort of balance going on. Whether God's the... let's not get into that. Why go there? Who knows? God needs the devil. He absolutely does, because God is imperfect and He's learning all of the time. He learns from us. He only knows what we have all given Him throughout life. There's more to learn. There's more to do. There's travel to be had through the intergalactic stars. Whether He can do that or not, or somebody else has done that, I don't know. They may well have done. But God is constantly learning. He might be learning how to make whole new universes, and might learn how to make a universe for each of us to enjoy to our heart's content. So God's busy, but He's imperfect. And the way He gets new information and new stuff is to challenge us. So we have to have a war, and then engineering comes on much, much faster. Because there's no greater incentive to human creativity than to stay alive and to protect our young and to protect our family. So when the chips are down, we can be very inventive, and we can be very cruel as well, can't we? So there is God and there is the devil, and that's my concept of the two. And if that turns you off, I'm sorry about that, but there it is. at least in the upcoming videos, then you're going to know what I'm talking about. Because there needs to be a rebalance now. Good people need to start to stand up. We have to. Because evil in the UK, the evil of child abuse has got a grip of right at the top of the establishment. It's clear, so the rest of us now need to come together and find a way to combat it. In the name of God, in the name of your country, the sake of your country and God, we need to regain control. That's what needs to happen. Okay? Alright, so upcoming videos, one to Jim Gamble, one to the McCanns, one to the Prime Minister, one to Prince Andrew to ask him why he supported the McCanns, called them inspirational parents. Could question him. What part of McCann's behaviour was inspirational to you, Mr. Prince Andrew, friend of Mr. Epstein, who suicided himself? We could also ask Prince Charles why he supported the McCanns on his website. And if people just write in letters and say, dear sir, or whatever, dear Right Honourable Mr. Charles, why did you support the McCanns? Please tell me. Because there's no reason to, is there? There's no evidence of an abduction, none whatsoever, none. And all the rest of the evidence point to McCann's being guilty and their cover-up, and the fact that the Scotland Yard are not allowed to investigate. This is so plain, it's so clear, that I think people are now just taking a fucking piss, aren't they, with this new German guy? Mr. Rammel predicted him years ago. So anyway, I'll just finish on one last thing, because things occurred to me, and I just think it's worth mentioning stuff that people aren't don't appear to be generally aware of. Why do you think the McCanns didn't use the babysitters that provided at that holiday place? Provided and vetted, it's a service, they would be trustworthy, they would be a very reasonable price, and that's just a service that a holiday place will provide, and they will make sure, if they want to attract professional people, that it's a top-notch service. There is no doubt that that service existed. So why would the McCanns not make use of it with their nearly 4-year-old girl? Why would they not want to leave their girl alone with a stranger, do you think? It might have been so protective, just any strangers, but hey, they let Mr. Oldfield bath their children, so they're not really not protective, they're not that stranger-phobic, are they? Why wouldn't they use a babysitter? Well, a 3-year-old girl can talk, can't she? She could say lots of stuff about what happens. They don't know the meaning of the word secret. Don't tell anybody. Might forget that and tell a nice babysitter. That's why they couldn't afford to have that child alone with any stranger, because she could have told them what was going on. Okay, this one's gone on long enough. I'll give you another one of those other things in following videos. On long enough, I'll finish this one here. Like and subscribe and watch the rest of them. They're all contain something. Alright, thanks for putting up with me. Bye for now.